Stella's sulking on my bunk. Maybe it's because no one gave her a Christmas present. I offered her a taste of Gran's Christmas pudding, but she hardly gave it a sniff. Can't say I blame her. I saw a sail today, another yacht. We shouted Happy Christmas and waved, and Stella barked her head off. But they were too far away, and when the sail disappeared, the sea felt suddenly very empty. Mum won the chess this evening. She's ahead now, 21 games to 20. Dad said he let her win because it was Christmas. They joke about it, but they both want to win. January 1st. Africa again. Cape Town. Table Mountain. You guys should Google Table Mountain. It's really amazing. And this time, we're not just sailing by. We're going to put in there. They told me this evening. They didn't want to tell me before, just in case we couldn't afford it, but we can. We're going to stay for a couple of weeks, maybe more. We're going to see elephants and lions in the wild. I can't believe it. I don't think they can either. When they told me, they were like a couple of kids, all laughing and happy. They were never like this at home. These days, they really smile at each other. Mum's getting stomach cramps. Dad wants her to see a doctor in Cape Town, but she won't. I reckon it's the baked beans. The good news is the baked beans have at last run out. The bad news is we had sardines for supper. Ugh. February 7th. We're hundreds of miles out in the Indian Ocean, and then this happens. Stella hardly ever comes up on deck unless it's flat calm. I don't know why she came up. I don't know why she was there. We were all busy, I suppose. Dad was brewing up down in the galley, and Mum was at the wheel. I was doing one of my navigation lessons, taking bearings with the sextant. The Peggy Sue was pitching and rolling a bit. I had to steady myself. I looked up, and I saw Stella at the bow of the boat. One moment she was just standing there. The next, she was gone. We had practiced the man overboard drill dozens of times back in the Solent with Barnacle Bill. Shout and point. Keep shouting. Keep pointing. Turn into the wind. Get the sails down quick. Engine on. By the time Dad had the mainsail and the jib down, we were already heading back towards her. I was doing the pointing and the shouting too. She was paddling for her life in the green of the looming wave. Dad was leaning over the side and reaching for her, but he didn't have his safety harness on, and Mum was going mad. She was trying to bring the boat in as close and as slow as she could, but a wave took Stella away from us at the last moment. We had to turn and come back again. All the time I was pointing and shouting. 3 times we came in, but each time we passed her by. Either we were going too fast or she was out of reach. She was weak by now. She was hardly paddling. She was going under. We had one last chance. We came in again, perfectly this time, and close enough for Dad to be able to reach out and grab her. Between the 3 of us, we managed to haul Stella back onto the boat by her collar, by her tail. I got a well done monkey face from Dad, and Dad got a huge rollicking from Mum for not wearing his safety harness. Dad just put his arms round her, and she cried. Stella shook herself and went below as if nothing at all had happened. Mum has made a strict rule. Stella Artois is to never go out on deck, whatever the weather, without a safety harness clipped on like the rest of us. Dad's going to make one for her. I still dream of the elephants in South Africa. I loved how slow they are and thoughtful. I loved how their wise, weepy eyes. I can still see those snooty giraffes looking down at me and the lion cub sleeping with his mother's tail in his mouth. I did lots of drawing and I keep looking at them to remind me. The sun in Africa is so big and so red. Australia next. Kangaroos and possums and wombats. Uncle John's going to meet us in Perth. I've seen photos of him, but I've never met him. Dad said this evening he's only a very distant uncle. Very distant, Mum said, and they both laughed. I didn't get the joke till I thought about it again when I came on watch. The stars are so bright and Stella was saved. I think I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life. April 3rd. Off Perth, Australia, until today it has been nothing but empty ocean all the way from Africa. I love it more and more when it's just us and Peggy Sue in the sea. We all do, I think. But then when we sight land, we always get so excited. When we saw Australia for the first time, we hugged each other and jumped up and down. It's like we were the first sailors ever to discover it. Stella Artois barked at us as if we were mad as hatters, which we probably are. But we've done it. We've sailed all the way from England to Australia. That's halfway around the world, and we did it on our own. Mum's been getting her stomach cramps again. She's definitely going to see a doctor in Australia. She's promised us, and we'll make her keep it. May 28th. At sea again after nearly 6 weeks with Uncle John. We thought we were going to stay in Perth for just a few days, but he said we had to see Australia properly while we were there. He took us to stay with his family on a huge farm. Thousands of sheep. He's got masses of horses. So I went riding a lot with my 2 little cousins, Beth and Liza. They're only 7 and 8, but they could really ride. They called me Mikey. And by the time we left, they both wanted to marry me. Ooh. We're going to be pen pals instead. I saw a snake called a copperhead. Uncle John said it could have killed me if I'd trodden on it. He told me to watch out for redback spiders in the toilet. I didn't go to the toilet very much after that. They called us their Pommy cousins, and we had barbecues every evening. They gave us a great time, but I was happy to get back to the Peggy Sue. I missed her while I was gone, like I miss Eddie. I've been sending him cards, funny animal cards if I can find them. I sent him one of a wombat. I saw a wombat too, and hundreds of possums and loads of kangaroos. And they've got white cockatoos in Australia, like we've got sparrows at home, millions of them. But out here it's gulls again. Wherever we've been in the world, there's always gulls. The plan is we're going to put in at Sydney, explore the Barrier Reef for a bit, then go through the Coral Sea and up towards Papua New Guinea. Mum's stomach cramps are much better. The doctor in Australia said that it was most probably something she'd eaten. Anyway, she's better now. It's really hot and heavy. It's calm too. No wind. We're hardly moving. I can't see any clouds, but I'm sure a storm is coming. I can feel it. July 28th. I look around me. It's a dark, dark night. No moon, no stars, but it's calm again at last. I'll be 12 tomorrow, but I don't think anyone except me will remember it. We've had a terrible time, far worse even than in the Bay of Biscay. Ever since we left Sydney, it's just been storm after storm, and each one blows us further north across the Coral Sea. The rudder cable has snapped. Dad's done what he can, but it's still not right. The self-steering doesn't work anymore, so someone's got to be at the wheel all the time. And that means Dad or me, because Mum is sick. It's her stomach cramps again, but they're a lot worse. She doesn't want to eat at all. All she has is sugared water. She hasn't been able to look at the charts for 3 days. Dad wants to put out a mayday call, but Mum won't let him. She says that's giving in, and she's never giving in. Dad and I have been doing the navigation together. We've been doing our best, but I don't think we know where we are anymore. They're both asleep down below. Dad's really wiped out. I'm at the wheel in the cockpit. I've got Eddie's football with me. It's been lucky for us so far, and now we really need it. We need Mum to get better, or we're in a real trouble. I don't know if we could stand another storm. Thank God it's calm. It'll help Mum to sleep. You can't sleep when you're being slammed about all the time. It is so dark out there. Black. Stella's barking. She's up by the bow. She hasn't got her harness clipped on. And that is where the diary finishes. Now, those were the last words I ever wrote in my log. After that, it's just empty pages. Okay, thank you for listening, guys. Now, you're going to read on from there, and there's only a couple more pages to the end of the chapter, so well done for listening to all of that. And it's a very exciting next part, so please read on and answer the questions that you will see in your reading slide.